Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. The results are in. Minnesotans have spoken.
Starting with the governor's race, and the incumbent DFL Mark Dayton wins another 4-year term. His race was called 2 hours after the polls closed. Dayton got 51% of the vote. Republican challenger Jeff Johnson of Plymouth picked up 44% of the vote. Reporter Sonia Goins was in downtown Minneapolis as Jeff Johnson gave his concession speech. He wished Governor Dayton success in his next term. Johnson also told Sonia the state's racial achievement gap needs to be a top priority.
I mean, we have the worst achievement gap in the country in Minnesota, that disparity in graduation rates between white students and students of color, and we're not making any progress on that. And I think that's something that I would have taken head on as governor. It would have been one of my top priorities. Hopefully Governor Dayton will too, because there are so many things we could do, and we just can't give up on these kids anymore.
You talk about a better economy. What can you do to fix the economy?
You know, I think we need to be more welcoming to entrepreneurs and to businesses, because right now they're not expanding in Minnesota, and the jobs we're seeing tend to be lower wage, and that has to change, because in 4, 5, 8, 10 years, we're not going to have the jobs we need to keep graduates from colleges in Minnesota, and we want them to stay here, and we want to continue to grow and thrive as a state. So hopefully we can become quite a bit more friendly than what we are right now.
In the Northwest Metro, there will be 2 new representatives in the State House. State House race District 34B in Maple Grove and Osseo will remain in Republican hands.
Dennis Smith beat Democrat David Hoden with 56% of the vote. Smith will succeed Representative Kurt Zellers, who announced that he was leaving the legislature to run for governor. On the campaign trail, Smith said he heard from Maple Grove and Osseo residents about the issues he needs to address as the next representative for the district.
I've heard about a concern for jobs, lower taxes, less business regulation, so we can expand the job base and make businesses be a place where Minnesota where they want to come and grow their business and start their business. Also, transportation is a big issue here in Minnesota. I heard a lot of issues about that. MNsure, we have a lot of fixes that we need to do with that. We need to make that a better type of program. And then also education. Education is very important for the citizens of Maple Grove and Osseo as well.
And in House District 44B, which includes Southwest Plymouth, Representative John Benson's seat will be held by another DFL member, John Applebaum. He defeated Republican and small business owner Ryan Rutzik by just more than 500 votes. This race was one that political pundits were keeping a close eye on. Again, it remains in DFL hands.
DFL incumbent Melissa Hortman of Brooklyn Park holds on to her seat for House District 36B. She won with 52% of the vote over Brooklyn Park City Council member Peter Crema. This was one of the higher spending races for the state. Republicans spent $81,000 trying to get Crema elected, but came up short. Hortman says her record was what mattered for voters.
I promised I would complete Highway 610, never dreamed that we'd be able to do that in the space of 10 years and to see all the businesses moving into our community. So I think results matter to voters, and I think that they dislike negative campaigning. So we stuck to the issues, we were positive and issue focused, and that seemed to win the day.
Incumbent mayors held off challengers in 3 cities.
In Brooklyn Park, voters re-elected incumbent Jeff Lunde to another term. Lunde received nearly 60% of the vote over challenger Joy Marsh Stevens. Lunde won a special election for mayor in 2011, but this was his first open election win.
Yeah, I think that we want to continue the job front, the job growth that's good for the city's future. Crime is still too high. We always say that, and we got to find innovative ways to tackle it. And I think, the whole idea, the teen homeless shelter is building that idea that we can do more for people in need, and by working with the community, churches as our partners, and we're seeing a lot more church activity. So we're going to keep building on that as well.
A new face will be on the Brooklyn Park City Council. A former firefighter and city volunteer, Terry Parks, captured 60% of the vote over challenger Reva Chambliss to win in the East District. Incumbent Elizabeth Knight did not run for re-election. This is Terry Parks' first election to public office.
I've been volunteering in the city for 32 years with Tater Days and on 3 commissions and that sort of thing. And I just thought, the next step up, instead of sitting on the couch and complaining about things, actually get up and make a difference. That's the reason I tried it.
So what sort of difference do you want to make then? What are some of your goals now that you're a member of the council?
I think one of the things is that we need to look at our diverse community and get everybody involved. I think that the more people we get involved, the better we're going to be. I came from the fire service, so public safety, according, for me, is a biggie.
Also winning re-election for the Brooklyn Park City Council, incumbent Rich Gates in the Central District. Gates captured 53% of the vote over former fire chief Steve Schmidt. This will be Rich Gates' third term on the City Council.
In Maple Grove, Mark Steffenson won a landslide re-election victory with 79% of the vote. He is only the fourth mayor in the history of Maple Grove, and he talked with Channel 12 about the progress the city has made from a farming community to a growing suburb of Minneapolis and what challenges lie ahead for Maple Grove.
We continue to have the challenges with the transportation system and how we get that to work best for our citizens. So that's why we've spent so much time over the last 10, 15, 20 years making our system really work for our citizens. So that's one of the big challenges. One of the other big challenges we have right now is working on the gravel pit. It's why we got the TIF, the tax increment financing passed last year through the legislature. So we're really looking forward to now trying to move that set of projects forward in the gravel mining area with that help with that TIF financing package.
In Brooklyn Center, Mayor Tim Willson squeaked by challenger Mike Elliott. Willson won by just 145 votes. This will be Wilson's third term as mayor, and he talked about high-profile redevelopment projects that have improved in the city.
It's been 8 years of redevelopment. When I first went into office, I ran on redevelopment, and it's taken 8 years to get that ball rolling and get like the FBI building and some other buildings in place. We now own 32 acres where Pep Boys is, that whole section in there. We're going to redevelop that. So we're not done redeveloping. We're going to continue to redevelop our underutilized properties and continue to build our local economy in Brooklyn Center.
There are some big changes to the Crystal City Council as three political newcomers beat out incumbents. In Section 2, starting with Olga Parsons, a stay-at-home mom who won with 64% of the vote. She defeated John Budashevsky for the council seat. In Ward 1, another stay-at-home mom, Elizabeth Dahl, defeated incumbent Mark Hoffman, who has held that seat since 1996. And in Ward 2, in his first run for office, Jeff Kolb won 66% of the vote over incumbent Joseph Selton.
Voters approved both levy requests on the ballot for Robbinsdale area schools. The first operational levy renewal was approved by 69% of the vote. It provides about $20 million per year through the year 2026. Voters approved the technology levy by nearly 59% of the vote. This money will be used for infrastructure upgrades to support teacher training and provide new technology tools for students. It'll raise taxes for the average homeowner by about $7 a month. And here now is a look at other city and state results.
The numbers are staggering. Every year, nearly 140,000 Americans are diagnosed with colorectal cancer.
It is the second leading cancer killer, but many people avoid getting tested for a variety of reasons. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland tells us more about a new test that can be done in the privacy of your own home.
I just hope for the best and live each day appreciating it.
Sarah DeBoard is a wife, mother, and avid runner. But 3 years ago,
I was probably the fittest that I'd ever been in my life. I was training for multiple races. I'm working up to a half marathon.
she started experiencing a variety of unpleasant symptoms.
And I blamed that on all the running I was doing. So the exhaustion, the weight loss, blood in your stool, and change in bowel habits were 4 very obvious things for me that I wrote off and excused on other things in my life.
The trip to the doctor led to a colonoscopy, and at the age of 34, she was diagnosed with colon cancer.
You know, I had 2 very small kids at home who I wondered if I died of cancer, would they even be old enough to remember me?
Lucky for Sarah, doctors were able to control her cancer with chemotherapy.
So as of right now, I'm living with what they call chronic cancer, where I have the potential to live a nice, long life.
Meanwhile,
colon cancer can be genetic.
Officials from the Colon Cancer Coalition say they're strong advocates of colonoscopies. However, they say people don't always get screened when they should.
Honestly, it's fear. Fear of the procedure, fear of the prep, fear of knowing.
Stool DNA screening test for colon cancer.
Now, a new screening test exists called Cologuard, which allows people to test for colon cancer from their home by providing a stool sample and mailing it out.
We are very excited about anything that will get more people screened.
That said, if the Cologuard test comes up positive, people would still need a follow-up colonoscopy to confirm it.
Some people probably find that embarrassing. I don't.
While some people get embarrassed about the invasive nature of a colonoscopy,
I have no shame.
It helped save Sarah's life.
I know that there's a long-term forecast with my life. So that's definitely the difference for me.
For Health Check, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Cologuard is approved for use by men and women age 50 and older. The test has to be prescribed by a licensed provider and can't be purchased over the counter. Coming up, Champlin Park students tackle a pesky, prickly problem.
But first, local girls hockey teams are back on the ice preparing for the season, including Armstrong-Cooper. John Jacobson is in next with sports. John Jacobson with sports, and this has to be a lot of fun. First time to a state tournament in a long time.
Long time, a new experience for these girls, and it seems playing pretty well right now. I think they have high hopes for this week. It is state tournament week in volleyball, and for the first time in 13 years, the Champlin Park Rebels are in the tournament field. Rebels got back to practice to prepare for the Class 3A tournament, where they will start play Thursday morning against Roseville. They lost to the Raiders in August to start the season. That feels like a long time ago now.
I think it'll be way different. They're still a really good team. They've always been a good team, strong team. In the beginning, I don't know. I think we weren't the same team at all, but we've come a long way. And they have too, so it's just going to be whatever happens.
Champlin Park advanced to state by sweeping Tutino Grace in the Section 5 championship Saturday night. It's the second time in the tournament for the Rebels. The previous trip was in 2001 when they finished 6th. It'll be a new experience for all of the current players.
It might be a little intimidating. I don't think a lot of us have gone down to Excel. I know a few of us have, but it'll definitely be a new experience.
But it's a different one down there because now it's a big giant fishbowl and you feel like everybody's looking at you. So we'll do the best. We've talked about how to handle that as best they can, and it'll be an adjustment period, but I think the pressure games in the smaller gyms have helped us to this point.
Champlin Park and Roseville play at 9 a.m. Thursday at the XL Energy Center. You can watch a replay of that match Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 4 here on Channel 12. High school girls hockey players are on the ice preparing for their first games of the season. With a combined Armstrong-Cooper team, it's a new look this year. The team will sport new home and away uniforms, and after 3 seasons without a team nickname, they'll now be called the Wings. There'll be a change on the ice, too, as the Wings look to fill the spots of 14 seniors who graduated a year ago. It will be an adjustment for the younger players.
I think definitely the aggression. There's a lot of physicality that's a lot higher paced, and it's just faster. You have a lot less time to think with the puck. So that's something you just have to learn in the game, I think.
Pretty hard for them, because we do like a lot of skating that they never done before. The older girls, we help them to make them better every day.
Armstrong-Cooper won 30 games combined over the past 2 seasons. That kind of success is what the Wings are trying to build on this year and in the future with the younger players.
We talked to them about, you don't have to be the players that were here before, but you got to kind of try to continue on the legacy that they left. We talked about when we started with our kids that we were building a program. With it brand new, we built the foundation and roof, and finally last season we put a roof on it with our kids, and now they're getting to take their turn at it, and they're excited to try to continue that legacy that those left before them.
Armstrong-Cooper will be tested in its season opener. The Wings play at Edina Thursday night. Hopkins football team finished with a 6-4 record this season. That's their best since 2010. One of the players who helped the team's improvement was quarterback Tyler Lee. Jason Melillo profiled the senior on this week's Sports Jam show. Here's a clip from that story.
Lee's ascension to QB1 has come with some adversity. He was Hopkins' starter last year, but a broken collarbone in Week 2 effectively ended his season. Then he was beat out for the starting job this fall by junior Oscar Johnson. But through it all, Lee always believed he had the skills to lead the Hopkins offense.
I was disappointed last year with my injury, and then trying to come back on it and just hurting it again is always disappointing. You know, only playing like 2 games total, and not winning the starting job is disappointing, but you just got to keep your head up and keep fighting for it.
Lee became the starting quarterback midway through this season after the Royals lost 2 of their first 3 games. With Lee calling the signals, Hopkins went on a 4-game win streak and then beat Edina in the first round of the section tournament.
You can catch the rest of the Tyler Lee story and much more on Sports Jam. It airs through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on Channel 12. And that's it for sports today.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, no better way to learn about nature.
The prickly lesson Champlin Park students got when we come back.
And finally, it takes a lot of hands to tackle a pesky, prickly, invasive plant.
That's why more than 24 Champlin Park High School seniors helped pull out buckthorn in a natural area owned by the Isaac Walton League along the Mississippi River. They are part of an outdoor adventures and earth science class. And the students must pull up that buckthorn by the roots since it crowds out natural vegetation. And the kids, they don't seem to mind the work.
I think it's fun. I mean, I think any chance that I get to go outside and do outdoorsy things, I just love it. So yeah, this is really nice. It's like mini recess. In high school, you don't get lots of chances to go outside and be interactive with the outdoors, and so I'm loving it right now.
They also say that doing something to help the environment just makes them feel good. It'll be a long time, though, before I think they see the results of that, because there's a lot of smaller plants around there, and I mean, they'll just keep growing for a while.
And you want to recruit them to your
Yeah,
place,
that's right.
I have that stuff. You too, right, John?
Yes. That'll do it. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow. Community Corner is coming up next.